Nobody is there yet, but this will be posted later, so here we go.
It still says upcoming for me.
Should update. And I can delete some of the beginning once it's posted.
Right.
I just can't add. If you click on the live, what does it say?
Well, it just still says upcoming. There we go. Look at that.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our first live stream on YouTube. We were trying to do this earlier last week, and we were stuck with Instagram. I know, boo, hiss, everybody is, no, I'm just teasing. Everybody loves them all. We're super excited today to talk about day 2, about the SCA Expo, and what guest brewers and guest speakers we're going to have there. And the guest speakers, you can probably guess, their books are actually sitting here, and we're going to unveil their photos so you can actually see the books a little bit better later. But first, I'm going to review, well, really quick, my name is Charles Nick, one of the co-founders. This is Brandon, our social media manager here at Third Wave Water, and he has fun doing all the posts, so if you don't like anything, you can let him know.
That's all me.
Just send him an emails at support@thirdwavewater.com. So last week, we talked, or actually earlier this week, we talked about these folks, and I don't know if you can see this. We'll have a picture posted later. Essentially, Friday, there's 3 days of the event, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday, the 12th of April, is the beginning of the SCA Expo, and that's in Chicago. And we have Degenerates Drinking Coffee, Sprometheus, Zan Gray with DeFair, Sam Sabori with Intelligentsia, Michael Fabian, Michael Flores, Mostra Coffee, and now we had a new one.
Coffee House from Michigan.
Yeah, Coffee House, HAUS, is now going to be there as well on Friday. And then for the speakers, we're going to have 2 speakers each day, so 3 days, 6 speakers. First speaker is Benjamin Carlson with Long Miles Coffee. Known him for years, brilliant guy. It's going to be so much fun to talk about what he's been up to. And Dr. Christopher Hendon, who's about to release an update to his Water for Coffee book with Maxwell Hendon. So, or Maxwell Dashwood, sorry, Maxwell Hendon. Christopher Hendon, Dashwood. So, Dr. Christopher Hendon and Maxwell are the 2 authors of Water for Coffee. So super excited to talk to him and see what they've been up to. Maxwell, sadly, is out of town for the event, so we couldn't get him to come by and say hello as well. But love what he's doing as well. He just released a new book as well. Maxwell Hendon just released, keep calling him Hendon.
Dashwood.
Apologize, Maxwell. Maxwell Dashwood, he has a new book that's talking about business in coffee. So if you're interested in starting a business in coffee, definitely check out his new book. So with that out of the way from earlier this week, we now are going to discuss day 2, because that's day 1. Day 2 is Friday, or day 1 is Friday, day 2 is Saturday, and Saturday the 13th. So we missed it by 1. Friday. It's not Friday the 13th, it's Saturday the 13th.
Wouldn't that be fun? Coffee Expo on Friday the 13th? That'd be fun.
So first one, and it's pretty much, it starts at 10 a.m. If you're in Chicago, please stop by. Booth 1058 is where we're going to be, pretty close to Roasters Village on the opposite side of the road that Commandante is. We're friends with them as well. But the first brewer, guest brewer, you may know him, especially on YouTube, as It's Chris. And what do you know about It's Chris?
Chris is our buddy from Boston. His name is Christian Chakra. Really cool dude. He works for, I believe, a keyboard manufacturer now.
Oh. Cool.
But he also makes really awesome coffee YouTube content. He has one of the cleanest setups I've ever seen in my life. He built his whole setup on like a Husky workbench, like a tool bench.
Oh, that's right.
Has like custom made, like 3D printed inserts to organize all of his brew gear. It's super cool. But yeah, he makes some really great content. He did a comparison of Third Wave Water versus, I think it was reverse osmosis, not too long ago. And that's kind of how we first heard about him and reached out to him. We're like, hey, let's work together. And since then, he's been a good promoter of ours and a pretty good guy. Like, he's super cool. I'm excited to have him brew with us.
Yeah, definitely follow his channel. Not just because we sponsor some of his content,
Right.
but because he is a really brilliant guy doing all kinds of fun stuff and always new reviews. And he's got both feet in the industry, and super excited to meet him in person finally in Chicago. That's our 10 a.m. 11 a.m. The next one is Verve. I don't remember who we're getting from the Verve team. They won Roaster of the Year last year. Super proud of them. We only have a few coffee subscriptions for the office, and they are one of them. So highly recommend Verve. Their coffee is so good all the time. Congratulations for the CEO. I'm going to apologize, brother. I forget your name right off the top of my head, but you killed it last year. And it was also good meeting you and your team at the SCA Expo last year as well. So really excited to see everybody in Expo in Chicago, and they got the hour. So that's the 11, and then at noon.
We have Valor Coffee coming in at noon. They are another new one that we just found, or that we just heard about pretty recently. Riley Westbrook, I believe is his last name. One of the founders. I caught one of his videos on YouTube, and the two other guys that founded the company have a podcast. I think they call the Coffee Sometimes podcast. Fascinating. They talk about all things like business ownership, because they all own a cafe or a string of cafes.
Yeah.
I think they're working on opening a new location currently. But they kind of talk about like the wins and fails of like starting their business. They get some of their barista staff on the podcast every now and then to say like, hey, what's it actually like behind the bar? What are some things that you've picked up when you've been behind the bar? And like, from your perspective, what is it like to treat the customers and to give them the best cup of coffee they can? It's super cool to hear like their perspective on it, because we've all heard like the horror stories of cafe ownership, and so hearing other people talk about their wins and fails is super interesting to me. They also have fantastic coffee. I ordered my first order from them. They shipped a little Polaroid of like one of them. It was just
Them
like
enjoying your coffee for you.
Well,
Hey, look how good your coffee is.
it was just a Polaroid of his feet. He's like happy toes or something like that. I was like, that's so funny. Like little things like that are so fun to me. I love it. But yeah, they're a cool group of guys too. I'm excited to hang out with them.
Really quick, we're going to do a very boring thing and do a sound check. Can you turn that up and just make sure we're actually coming through? Yeah, okay, we're good. Sound check is fine. You never know, sometimes when you hook up your technology and something gets unplugged somewhere. Anyway.
Especially you sometimes.
Yes.
A couple times
Especially
recently.
me. Yeah. Only that one time. Twice, I guess. Next one up is Brandon Burr with Crimson Cup. I guess Crimson is kind of how they're branding their cafes, but Crimson Cup is still the brand for the coffee, as I understand it. Brandon Burr, we've known him for years. He's definitely forgotten more about coffee than I've ever learned, to be honest. Q-Grader sources, helps them source coffee for Crimson Cup. Just brilliant. The stories that he can tell you are amazing, and I'm still waiting for your book, Brandon. We talked about this or 2 expos ago. He has some experiences that I think would be really worth hearing from other people, especially in specialty coffee. He's done some really special stuff, so I'm really excited to hang out with Brandon Burr again, and it's always a fun treat.
Every time I hear his name, I always just think about Better Brandon.
Better Brandon.
He's just, Better Brandon, I'm Lesser Brandon. You're in the office.
He's just more knowledgeable coffee Brandon.
Yeah.
But Brandon, we miss you, and it's going to be super excited to see you in person again. Even though you're only in Columbus, you're so close, and we still don't make the trip up as often as we should. Because we're in the kind of Dayton, Xenia area. We're moving offices this year, moving from the little town of Cedarville to Xenia, which will be really nice. Sweet Bloom is the next one. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say there other than they're awesome. Like, we love Sweet Bloom. Fantastic folks. I admit I don't know a lot of the people on their team or who they're going to be having brew with us. But on the design side, they've always been, honestly, leaders in design for their bags and for their website and everything else. So very, very, it's going to be a lot of fun to hang out with the folks at Sweet Bloom. And then last one up, there are two more. We still had Coffee House, who we mentioned again. They're going to be at the 5 p.m., but there's one before them and after Sweet Bloom. Who's that?
So right after Sweet Bloom is going to be Corvus Coffee Roasters. They are one of my favorite roasters on the planet.
Is it because, wait, they're in Pennsylvania or something?
No, they're not. That's
No.
that's Passenger. I do love Passenger too.
Okay.
No, Corvus is one of my favorites. I first had my first coffee from them was an Ethiopian natural that tasted like biting into a blueberry muffin. It was delicious. It was so good. I was telling Taylor earlier that for my wedding, I bought a 5-pound bag of Corvus coffee, and I got like the expedited shipping and everything to make sure it was there. It was like maybe 2.5, 3 weeks before the wedding, and the dumb shipment got delayed, and it was delivered the Wednesday after my wedding.
Oh, no.
It was such a bummer, but then I got home
You
from...
still love them. That says a lot.
Well, I got home from my honeymoon and had 5 pounds of Kenyan coffee waiting for me, so I can't really be that upset.
So you didn't order that on purpose, so you'd only be able to have it for yourself and not for the actual wedding? Sorry, wife, we're stuck with 5 pounds of amazing coffee.
That would have been fun. It would have been a pain in the neck to grind 5 pounds of coffee the night before, so it all worked out, but they're still really great. I love their coffee. Delicious.
I'm going to steal some of that.
Have it. It's a little weak, but
Oh, that's okay.
I think I need to go a little finer of a grind next.
So some of the other things that are going on at the event, there's a lot of stuff going. It's not just the guest brewers and guest speakers. That is what's going on at our booth. We have kind of a little bit of a Hollywood theme. We'll probably share some pictures of that soon. So come by, get your picture taken. I was filming a short film this last summer, so I'm gonna have the clapboard and some other silly things for props. And anyways, it'll be fun to come by and hang out and even get photos and meet everybody that's brewing. But some of the things that we're doing at the event, two main big ones. The first one is the design award side. So design, we just had new designs for our boxes, and Seth Gillespie is our designer and did an amazing job. This is light, medium, dark. Those are the three that we actually put on for the actual pictures and application for the design side. So hoping to win that. Don't know for sure yet. I think the winners will be announced before the event for that one. I can't remember certain. But the second one is Best New Product, and that one we're super excited about because it's got a really great story behind it.
The low acid profile.
And purpose, not just the story, but the story is the purpose for this one. So Taylor's dad was struggling with trying to drink, and my dad actually as well was struggling with low acid issues, and they wanted to drink their coffees again, but they couldn't drink coffee anymore because the coffee they would drink would mess with their stomach, and then they just stopped drinking coffee. So basically the low acid profile reduces the acidity. I would say a good 80-90% of the people this will help. There's going to be a percentage where, you know, there's no matter how much you reduce it, it's not going to work. Yeah, but we really think there's going to be a lot of people that we can help with this to reduce the acidity on your favorite coffees that you used to enjoy if you struggle with low acid issues. So the goal of this is to help you drink your favorite coffees again. So super excited about that one. Best New Product, we're up for nomination. And there is a People's Choice Award, so if you do go to the event, please vote for us. We'd really appreciate it. So that's the other second big news. And then I guess the third one would be triangulations. Do you want to talk about triangulations?
I can, yeah. So real quick though, I got my dad on the low acid profile too. So my whole family, they drink like probably a pot of coffee a day combined. And my dad was like, I can only have like 2 cups anymore because my stupid, like, I get acid reflux and heartburn and all that junk. And I was like, let me ship you a box. So I did. And I texted him a week later, and he was like, yeah, I have not had a single tinge of heartburn or acid reflux, and the coffee still tastes great. I was like, sweet, that works. I'll take it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
This may turn into the dad profile, but it is the low acid profile. Apparently it's helping all our dads. But anybody that's struggling with it, honestly, it's a great way to get back to enjoying the coffees that you did once before. But triangulations.
Yeah, so
super
we're going to have triangulations set up at our booth. Andrea, she's our wholesale manager, but she's also a Q grader. She's gonna have these set up to, I believe it's gonna be one, like, the whole point is to taste the difference that third wave water makes between bad water and good water. The difference that makes in your coffee. And so we'll be having these little games set up where you try 3 different cups and you pick out the right one. And if you do pick out the right one, the good one, then we'll give you a little secret prize. Do we want to share what the prize is? I guess we could.
Sure.
Or we could wait.
Yeah, one of them. I'll share.
Okay,
one
we'll
of the
share
prizes.
one. But if you win, if you get it right, we'll be giving out little temporary tattoos. They're super cool. This is my favorite sticker that we've ever made, and we turned it into a tattoo now. I said I should get it actually tattooed on me somewhere. But
Let's
only
get votes. How many people think Brandon should get a third wave water tattoo?
yeah, comment below if I should get a
Peer
third wave water
pressure.
tattoo. That'd be cool. But yeah, the triangulations, we've always done kind of a side-by-side comparison in the past at all of our trade shows. And so doing a game where they don't know which one is the good one and making it be like a blind taste test, I think will help a lot to really kind of help people taste the difference and understand, like, oh my gosh, it's night and day.
Yeah, you'll get 3 cups, 3 really small cups, and you're going to try each one of them. And your goal is to try to find the 2 that are alike to find the one that is different. So out of the 3, 1 is different and 2 are the same. And you will never know which ones they are until you taste them. And it's really, it's a Q grader trick for finding defects and some other things, because I don't know all the details or even how it works on that side for quality assurance, but I know that they use it for finding defects as a big portion of it. So you'll find the different lots, and then you'll have the 2 versus the 1, and then you're really forcing yourself to find the nuances that are the same between the one coffee that may be better or worse. So it's a good one to train your senses, and it'll be a fun game for us to play and give you some prizes. So that'll be a lot of fun.
It should be cool. We're getting 3 different coffees in from different roasters
Yes.
that are supplying that.
Yep.
I don't remember the whole list. I know Brandywine is one.
Brandywine is one. So on one of the days, I don't remember Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, Brandywine will be the coffee that will be on the triangulation booth. The actual brew bar is separate, and that's the guest brewers we're talking about here. They'll be at the brew bar, so they'll have a decent espresso machine, pour over gear, Chemex V60, whatever, all the normal pour over methods. And it's kind of their place to just play and talk about whatever they want to talk about. And then at the triangulation table, they'll have those coffees. Do you have the other
I do
ones?
have the list. So we have Brandywine is going to be there on Friday. Rare Breed is going to be Saturday's coffee, and Enjoy Coffee is going to be Sunday.
Okay.
That's going to be so good. I'm excited.
Yeah, and thank you so much for each one of those companies as well for providing the coffee, because that's their
Absolutely.
sponsorship. They're totally providing this to be at the booth, and it's to help you taste the differences in the water, which is going to be fun since we're not doing defects in the
Absolutely.
coffee.
Legendary.
Which they're also using, or we're going to be using a Ratio 6 to do the brewing. So huge thanks to our friends at Ratio. The Ratio 6, I don't think you can buy for home yet. They had it at Kickstarter. I think those delivered.
That's the 4. The 6 is the one I have at home too.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I went on their site. Maybe they're just on back order. Maybe that's what it is. They sold them all out
They're
already.
too good. People keep buying them out.
But the Ratio 6 is great. We have a Ratio 8 in the office we've had for years. We actually brought that with us on the TV show Shark Tank. We had 2 Ratio 8s versus 2 Curtis Brewers to try to show, like, from cafe to kitchen was the theme that we had on Shark Tank. But Ratio 6s, that's what we're going to use to brew the triangulations on that table. Then you have the guest brewers. They have the decent espresso machine and all the crazy gear and tools and utensils and all the stuff to be able to kind of have fun and do whatever videos they're going to do. Because a lot of the people that are coming this year, very different from last year, are kind of on the social media side, which is fun. A lot of the companies are social media too, and they'll do videos and post things. But these are like
We're having a lot of individuals come.
Yeah.
Like people that are just kind of representing themselves, not a bigger company. And I think that's cool. I think it's because they're a lot of the voice in the industry right now, and so I think it's cool to give them a little platform to hang out, do their thing, and to share what they're up to.
Yeah, and get to know them. They can ask us questions. We can ask them questions. And that's one of the big things about Expo that's so much fun is you're going to meet so many fun coffee people and just discover all the new things that are happening.
Yeah.
So for the next space, we're going to go through guest speakers, and there's only 2 guest speakers for day 2. There's one at 11 a.m. and there's one at 2 p.m. And the 11 a.m. speaker is going to be Dr. Robert Allo. So he wrote the book Engineering Better Espresso. These are funny speakers.
I love these little pictures. They're so cool.
Yeah, I used a Hue Forge to do some 3D prints. And anyways, this is going to be great.
Looks great on camera.
So we're going to get to hang out with Dr. Robert and pick his brain on some stuff, and specifically about the book and whatever he wants to share about. Last Expo, it was funny. He stopped by and he had a modification for our Decent, and he's like, "Do you mind if I, modify this really quick?" And we're like, "Go ahead." And it was at the end of the event, and he's like unscrewing the portafilter cover and putting in his own cover, and then running some tests, and it was a lot of fun. So excited to see you again, Robert, and it'll be a lot of fun to see what new tricks in your bag that you bring with us, bring with you, because I have a feeling you'll probably have another sort of experiment that you may or may not want to run
Brings a whole
on
new
the
pump
machine.
for the machine.
Yeah. And then the second speaker is Ryan Castellez, and I hope I'm not butchering your last name, but Ryan, he's been around in the industry for a while too. Brilliant book called The New Art of Coffee. And Ryan, we got to meet briefly last year as well. Brilliant guy, doing all kinds of neat things in coffee. So really excited to just hear his story behind his book and whatever else he wants to talk about. So between these 2 speakers, we're going to try to do a live event if we can, if the internet allows us at the actual event in Chicago for each one of them. So when we do that, you'll be able to ask questions live. We don't know if we're going to do it on Instagram or YouTube yet. That'll be posted soon on the decision of if we're able to do it. But regardless, it will be recorded and still put on YouTube and Instagram still for you to watch it. So you can still ask them questions. They'll be tagged in the actual videos, and that'll still work out. But we're hoping it'll be live because it's always more fun live for you and for us to get immediate feedback when we're doing things and get questions, put them on the spot, put us on the spot. It's always a lot of fun. And we do have a super secret gear, but we can't announce it until next Friday. So we're going to do one more of these live videos. This is part 2 of 3. Part 3 of 3, we're going to finally announce the super secret brewer that is going to be showcased at our booth.
Yeah, we can't say who, we can't say what. All we can say is that something exists from somebody.
Yeah, it's awesome. You'll know the name, and it's brilliant. I'm definitely going to have one in my house soon. Let's see.
We have a lot going on, and there's still another 3rd day. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, I know. Yeah.
It's
So
gonna be a
yeah,
busy event.
Day 3 is it's a shorter day, but there are some heavy hitters that you're going to want to hear about.
It's just as crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Are there any questions posted on there at all? I don't know if we have much of, since this is our first time live, we didn't know, because we didn't give a preemptive, hey, follow us, and we're doing a live in 5 hours, and please join us. But if you have any questions, please feel free to throw anything out.
Somebody did post that brewer looks nice. Thank you. Well,
Oh, yeah.
it's not mine. It's the American Press. I did a video about this one, oh gosh, maybe about a month ago. Really neat little brewer. It's funny. I mentioned this in the video too, but a lot of times people compare it to a French press when legitimately on their website they say it's not French press, it's American press. So I love whenever people are like, oh, it's like a French press but different. I'm like, well, no. But it's really interesting. I like it a lot. I think it's a cleaner cup than a French press for sure.
Yeah,
I think I need to grind a little finer next time I brew with it. I grind a little too coarse, but I think it still tastes really good.
It's like a dual wall glass, and or plastic, and then I like the materials they use. It's like a soft touch rubber, and then it's like a smooth, rounded press top. It's pretty nice to use.
Yeah.
Even having the kind of curved out lip for pouring is nice.
Nice little pour spout. It's great. I was just telling Charles before we started filming that opt to take this camping over, I think over an AeroPress.
Whoa.
It's a little bigger,
Whoa.
but I mean the fill lines are like dialed in here on the sides. There's some fill lines. There's a max fill and a 12-ounce line, and I mean you don't even have to weigh it out. Just 18 grams of coffee, and you pour the water in. You're good to go. It's so easy. Maybe that and a Commandante grinder, super small. You could probably fit the Commandante in the body of this. So I like it a lot.
I will mention we have a few sponsors for equipment. Kaya is one of them. They're providing both the Pearl and the Lunar for the event as well. And we do have these things at our office, but we like to show off and kind of share with our friends as much as we can because they've got some really neat stuff. They updated the scale. It's got like a neat little kind of band that pushes out with your weight when you're using it on the new Pearl. I think that's the Pearl. And then already mentioned ratio, and then the third one I can't mention yet, but like I said, next Friday, join us next Friday. We'll talk about that specific brewer. Very high level. We're not allowed to share details as much as that it's going to be there. And the fun part is a lot of the social media folks that are going to be there are going to get to film and talk about it and then share that later.
We have one more question. It says, if I came to that event, how many cups of coffee would I end up drinking in a day? Is it like a cup at each booth? Not quite a cup at each booth, probably like a couple ounces, maybe like 3-4 ounces.
Everybody will give you little sample cups.
Yeah.
Sometimes just be careful with the espresso. You'll be getting espresso from everywhere, and that does only take a sample cup.
Yeah, a couple, 3-4 ounces of espresso at every booth. Yeah, you're fine.
It's almost always too much coffee,
Yeah.
but it's fun. It's a lot of fun. They have lunch. You can go and get food and kind of settle your stomach if you're struggling with too much caffeine or something. But yeah, easy to pace yourself. Just take little sips on the stuff. Don't ask for the big gulp size of whatever they have to offer.
And don't feel like you're required to drink everything that everybody gives you.
Yeah.
If you take a sip and you like it, you don't have to chug it. You don't have to drink all of it. They understand that there's hundreds of other people that are giving out coffee.
But there's over 600 vendors, and it's the largest floor space that the Expo has ever done. And I think it's the first time that the Expo, the SCA Expo, has ever been in Chicago. So that's kind of a fun one too. Cool. It's usually East Coast, West Coast, East Coast, West Coast. Usually bounces back around, and Portland and Seattle are big. Some of the biggest coffee cities for America, so that's why we keep going back to Portland and Seattle. But this year, it's in the middle of the country, so it's good for us. So we get to drive
easier
up.
for us, yeah.
We get to drive up from the Dayton area, and yeah, I mean it's still a 5-hour drive, but not too bad. Not too bad.
That's an afternoon. That's hardly anything.
There's a few other things. Let's see.
Same guy asks, are people totally back from COVID? Do you think the event still has fewer people because of that? It probably has slightly fewer. They don't have any, as far as I'm aware, they don't have any like restrictions about like vaccine or masks or anything like that. It's kind of dealer's choice of if you want to, you can. So I'm sure people are just taking some extra precautions. But mostly I think everyone's back.
Yeah, and there's a lot of requirements on us, like for food service. Even if you're giving samples, we have to provide you clean stuff. So no worries on that side of somebody coming in and doing some shenanigans, because we all get checked as far as like how we do our thing there.
Yeah.
So like the cups, we have to provide certain types of cups and certain types of samples. But yeah, it totally your discretion. But I'm guessing there might be less of an audience, but Chicago's a massive city, so we don't know what local population is going to come in as well, since you've got 10 million people in the city that may decide to come by and say hi too.
Yeah.
Usually it's around 20,000 people through the 3 days. And one of the other fun parts for the actual event, apart from what we're doing, is that they're doing the USCC,
U.S. Coffee Champs.
Yeah, U.S. Coffee Champs. And I guess it's not the USCC now, it's the final CC. I don't know how they would say that. The World World CC? But they're doing the finals for the world for Brewers Cup and Tasters at this event.
Yeah,
Usually
that'd
it's
be cool.
yeah, usually it's the United States Championships at the Expo, not the world
Not the world
final
champion,
where
yeah.
everybody's coming in from the countries they won to actually compete. And Brewers Cup is one of my favorites. You get to taste. They do these preliminaries. I'm forgetting the name of them now, but before they pitch their coffee to a judge in their actual competition, they will provide you the opportunity to stop by and in this one area of the expo to get the coffee that they're going to give to the judges later. So
That was cool.
yeah, it's really cool, and I forget what that's called. It's like a comp or something. But yeah, if you're look on the list of the competitors and you're like, wow, I want to try the coffee that they think they're going to win this competition with, then make sure to stop by and get it before it disappears.
No doubt.
But they're the ones presenting it. It's not like they just make a carafe of coffee and then leave. They'll actually present you the coffee and tell some, if you have questions, you can ask them about it too, which is fun.
You're not going to get probably the whole 10-minute spiel and presentation with all the, I think Morgan Eckroth, she's like dry ice and like this crazy like wooden box and like all this foliage and stuff. It was super cool, but
Oh yeah, so
I doubt everybody's getting that.
yeah, well that's on the barista side. So barista, they're not doing.
Oh, right, yeah.
I don't remember where Barista's World event is going to be. If it's a separate building, I know in the building this time they're doing the SCA or the Brewers Cup itself. So
Brewers
the Brewers is where they can use whatever coffee and water they want to use, and then actually give a presentation and try to share the story behind the coffee or how they came up with the recipe or whatever it is they want to be able to share and explain. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So in a funny way, it's kind of like our little NASCAR circuit of sorts for coffee. Like you get to see, honestly, the best of the best brewing their coffee. And some of the stuff they're doing is kind of latest trends, what's going on. So if you have a cafe, it's kind of fun to stop by and see what are some of those trends that are maybe good. Some of them may not be so good, but at least what's happening. And the expo is a great place to share what's working, what's not working, and see what's working and what's not working. And to learn about all the new tools and people that are making all the crazy stuff. Like us.
Yeah.
So I think that's about it. Are there any other last questions before we...
I didn't see
We may
any.
have a time delay on this, sadly. So if I miss you on here, I apologize.
Sure.
Because we don't have our phone kind of connected correctly here, and we'll try to do it better next time. But let us know if you're going to be at Expo. Again, the booth is at 1058. This was day 2, and we'll post this picture, probably post the link in the actual description so you can go and actually see it somewhere, since we have these pictures already kind of put together. But day 1, day 2, day 3. Day 3 is next Friday we're going to talk about, and there are some big surprises for day 3. So please make sure to tune in. We'll do a little bit better marketing on this one to let you know, hey, we're going to have a live event. Please join us for a live event.
Yeah.
This is the first time we did it on YouTube, so thank you so much for whoever joined. And if you do have a question, please still feel free to ask it here. We have an email, support@thirdwavewater.com, if you don't feel like waiting for us to reply here. But we usually reply pretty quick to everything. So any other final thoughts you think?
Let us know what kind of gear you want to see at Expo. There's always new gear and new stuff to play around with, so... I know the trend last year was like a lot of the ionization beams, and, like the frozen espresso balls or the espresso like whiskey stone things.
Yeah.
What kind of weird, trendy coffee gear stuff do you want to see? I guess I know what I'm keeping my eyes out for. I think some of this is gonna be cool, but yeah, I want to hear other people's thoughts. I think that'd be sweet.
Yeah, let us know, and we will see you next Friday.
Next Friday.
2 p.m.
Yeah.